This is Shelby Lopez, and you're listening to On the Back Burner podcast. This episode is sponsored by Tacos and Taro, a Tijuana food truck owned and operated by Shelby and Lopez. Food and Fortune, Tacos and Taro offer authentic tacos, tortas, quesadillas, homemade salsa, and tarot card readings by request. Check us out on Facebook to see where we're serving next in Fulton County, Pulaski County, or Cass County. Call 574-230-3779 to order ahead or plan your parties with us. So in the previous episodes I had been on the Back Burner podcast, we had talked about, the magazines and recapping, but this one's a little bit different. So this one I thought I'd give, my hand at a tarot reading over podcast. This is my first podcast tarot reading, but it's definitely not my first, rodeo with this stuff. Obviously, the owner of Tacos and Taro, I got some background information. I've done I've done lots of different shows, events, places. I'm still doing shops. I have people come to my house. I have done, video tarot, on Facebook Live, and I've done readings over the phone, but a podcast, I guess we're popping the podcast cherry for this one. And what a perfect time to do it during eclipse season. This is some epic stuff. What I mean by eclipse season is a 34-day period right now. It started on April 25th. I do believe that the next eclipse is April 30th, and it goes all the way to May 30th. And this is a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, within a 34-day period. It is crazy energy and a time just for new beginnings and to really invest yourself and into your future, basically. It's time to say goodbye to old habits that aren't good for you, old patterns, even ones that were established in childhood. You need to examine, what is not fitting you anymore, what is stressing you out, and let it go and say hello to new ones. What's going to make you better? It's a time to be open to change and welcoming new ideas and new things to learn in life, like new knowledge. It's just an open door for knowledge right now. With April having 2 new moons, it was called the Black Moon Eclipse Portal, and it was basically a time for shadow work. The shadow work should be wrapped up, by the end of April, and May should be that spring feeling, really. It's the April showers bring May flowers, but spiritually. The big thing about eclipse season is, allowing change, opening your energy, and allowing that personal growth to expand. It's about being comfortable with being uncomfortable in a sense, identifying your triggers and why you have those triggers, what makes you affected by certain things when you shouldn't be affected. It's about working on our patience as things unfold and not wanting to rush things. It's about, just letting things be and trusting our intuition and destiny and the universe and how it connects. And if it doesn't connect, then it wasn't meant for you. It's not forcing things, anymore. If it feels uncomfortable, it's letting it go. We must surrender to any transformations, no matter how uncomfortable, if it's for positive growth, we have to surrender to it and, go through that uncomfortable stage until it becomes comfortable. We don't want to be stuck where we were. We need to constantly be growing, and I don't care who you are. We all have maintenance growth to work on. Before any reading I do, I'm shuffling some cards and going to really, get the energy into it. And I always cut my cards into 3 stacks before I get started with my spreads. And I always use my left hand because that's the hand of destiny. This spread that I have in particular is really aimed at, moving forward for eclipse season. So it's everything that we need to know, and it's going to be 5 cards. The first pull is, what we need to reflect on. That's the start, of our shadow work, essentially. And this is pulled for the collective, the 5 of Pentacles. The 5 of Pentacles tends to have a very lonely feel. It can be negative, but it also can be positive. And in this case, it's definitely positive. I've done a reading for a homeless person before, and this was their symbol. But at the same time, sometimes not being homeless necessarily, but putting ourselves out there when we feel alone, or, separating ourselves, even though it's uncomfortable, from things that are negative, that aren't really serving our higher purpose, and finding ourselves and who we really are outside that negativity. Sometimes we don't even realize things are negative until they're away. But if something's holding you back from your goals, or, you have a bad habit, whether it could be addiction, it could be addiction to a person, that doesn't appreciate you as much as you appreciate yourself. It could be a dead end job that's really keeping you from your dream career and you just don't have time for it. We really need to work on, like I said, the shadow work to examine how we can make our dreams come true. As cliche as that sounds, like, for real, dreams can come true, if you focus hard enough. That's what it's all about. What is your priority? So you need to analyze your priorities and step away from whatever is keeping you from that priority, or find an alternative, because where there is a will, there is a way. Although it may be, hard or scary or whatever to take that first step outside of normalcy, or, go out on your own, it's worth it in the end. So maybe you still can't figure that out, or you've figured it out, but you don't know how that is even possible. The next card, number 2, is how are you going to receive those downloads to make that possible? And the card for that is a big one. It's a major Arcadia card, and it is the Emperor. The Emperor is meaning that you're watering your garden well. What are you not watering well? What are you doing for somebody else that you're not doing for yourself, that you wish somebody did for you? Because you need to be the one that's doing that, What are you neglecting? What do you think you're not good enough at? What are you not practicing? You have what it takes to meet that goal. But like I said, it's focus and effort. And it's saying that you need to put your ultimate focus. The grass is not greener. I love to say this. The grass is not greener on the other side. It is greener where you water it. So you need to water it where it's right in front of you. The next card is, how can you look after yourself, to achieve those goals that you weren't doing before? And this is saying, the chariot upright is normally, kind of a spontaneous one. It reminds me of, an 18 or 19-year-old that's just, about to move with just the shirt on his back to another state and hoping it works out. And, if you're not prepared, it might not always. But this one's reversed. So it's like the opposite of that. It's saying that you need to be more organized, that you need to be more goal-oriented. You need to write things down, get a calendar, but you just need to get organized, prepared, and have your ducks in a row to make it possible. I feel like maybe before, there's procrastination. There was, I'll do it later, or it's not that important. But if it's important, to you, it is important. So make it a priority. Just because it's not selfish to make things, we always feel like it's selfish to make things that we love a priority, but really, that's self-care and self-love, and it's so necessary in this life. But you can't do it if you're not prepared. If you are just, for small examples, okay, if you're hitting the snooze button, to get ready every morning, and you go into work and you're feeling like crap and you're not feeling your best, you're not going to perform your best. So it's saying get up 15 minutes earlier, don't procrastinate, that writing for the next day or whatever, that yard work for the next day, because you have other stuff to do that next day. You need to have your ducks in a row. And even when you're tired or you don't feel like it, or you don't feel like it's important, you're going to have time later, just do it now. Just do it now. Don't make a stack of paperwork, organize your stuff. Don't put it in a pile for later. It's the little things in life. It's almost like the feng shui of life. You have to have your ducks in a row. If you have chaos around you, your life is going to be chaos. So it's just saying, don't be so spontaneous. It's good to be spontaneous, but don't be reckless. As we climb to the fourth card is what needs to change. And once again, we're going back to the focus, like I talked about earlier. The star is saying that we're not having all of our focus where we think we might. Sometimes we get so busy in the day-to-day life, the hectic things that we do every day, that we don't realize that our words aren't aligning with our actions. We literally don't realize it. So I'm asking you what is your main focus every day? Really, really analyze that. And is it aligning with the goals that you're wanting to achieve? Do you have a 5-year goal, 10-year goal? If not, you should. Because, sometimes if we just write things down on a paper, we can see it almost from like an outside perspective. The day-to-day is so easy to get caught up in. This is a major Arcadia card, just like the Emperor card. And so this is kind of, they're tying together, because once you get that focus, you're going to have your empire, your kingdom, or at least you'll be building that. We have to have patience. That's a huge thing. Like when I say you're going to have your kingdom, I don't want you to expect it to be, right at your fingertips. Once you decide what that focus needs to be, it's going to take time. And that is what weeds out, the winners and the goal achievers, is having that patience and that dedication and that focus and that drive and that just consistency day in and day out, even when we don't feel like it, even when we want to procrastinate. As we climb up to find our higher self with this 5th card, on how to transform, we're really finding, what's the ultimate thing that is holding us back? How do we transform that into, and like I said, being our higher self, being the best that we can be, really getting our goals, living our destiny and what the universe, put out for us since, before we even existed. We all have a purpose, but what's keeping us away from that purpose? The 8 of Swords is reminding us, we need to change our perspective. That's what it is. It's all about perspective on how we can achieve our goals. And if we believe in ourselves, that is everything. With tarot, the introspection, yes, every single card has like a meaning, but also the combination, can have an even higher meaning. And in this reading, I just see either there's a few ways this can go, okay? I see a lot of distraction. So whether this be depression that's distracting you and you not believing in yourself, or you having just too much to do, you taking on too many things because you don't want to miss an opportunity. You're not going to miss the opportunity if you just focus. And same with depression or, addiction or whatever is holding you back. You're not going to miss this opportunity because you're not good enough. You're good enough for everything. You need to remember your worth is what this reading is telling you. Whether you're doing too much, whether you're doing too less, you need to find a middle. And that's the whole point of what eclipse season is really trying to get at and focus so you can find your higher self. What others say does not matter. It's what you do. So really, you're not disappointing anybody by saying, no, I can do that later. If it's really that important, if they really valued your worth, they will respect that and come back to it later, or the other side of the spectrum, if you're depressed and you don't believe you're good enough, if somebody's told you something silly and it's your passion, just do it. Just listen to your intuition. And that is the key to finding your higher self. I hope this message resonated for all the listeners out there, and you take this time to really plant your seed for the future. Plant yourself and water your garden well, okay? And man, just watch how you blossom as you continue to water that garden. For any listeners that are wanting to, find me for a personal tarot reading, hit up our Tacos and Tarot page on Facebook, or find me at the Lunar Vibes Alternative Market in Peru on May 7th. I will be doing tarot readings there at the Picker's Place in Peru from 10 to 4. Talk to you guys later.
You can get what you want as long as you know the stuff that you float. And you can get what you need as long as you associate it with greed. You can get what you kill as long as you still would know that it's wrong. 'Cause you can get what you want as long as you know the stuff that you flow. still, as long as you still would know